here we are. Thank you for coming to the partner webinar. Here we are. Imogen is here. As I said, she'll not be speaking. You can chat anything you want to say, Imogen. We also have some videos from Maria, although you may be wondering why she's here, because we still have some videos with her, even though she's on a longer vacation now, a well-deserved vacation. Martin, I said, Angie is me, and Lisa. So here we are. And Martin, I'll just keep, I guess, the presentation, and you can tell me when to switch from one to the next.
Yeah, perfect. And thank you everyone for coming to the event. I think it's important that we keep this event as interactive. We actually need to get feedback from you, and we share our feedback that we actually collected talking to you and other our partners, our customers. So this is the purpose of the event, basically, of the webinar. Yeah. So let's go to the okay. You want me to discuss the messaging, Angie, right? Yeah. Okay. So I'll come back to you when the messaging.
We've got partners everywhere in the world. You can see it's alphabetical, so no one can think that we've gotten some underlying reason for putting people in a different order. And we also have some others that are kind of reporting through eMark. So here's our messaging. If I may, before you start, Martin, I hope I don't say what you were going to say. It was important, what we discovered, really important, that we talked a lot about trying to inspire you, the partners, and the customers. And we realized, obviously, what inspires Click, for example. Click is very inspired by what we do here. Yeah, most customers get inspired somewhere down here. Yeah. So that's why we really are trying to be aware of, when you talk about Inphinity, we want to talk about it in these different levels. So go ahead, Martin.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Angie. So talking to customers and partners, basically, we always try to understand how they use Inphinity, right? Because that's very important for us, obviously, because we need to develop the product further. And it means we need to know how it's being used and what actually value we're bringing to the customers. And that's basically outlined in this pyramid. And we actually realized that this product is being used from for a wide range of use cases, basically from very simple use cases to really complex use cases, right? And with the new release, it actually opens doors to even more advanced use cases in a very secure environment, right? So that's why we consider it as very important to outline it here. And you can see this pyramid, basically, which has a certain logic and based on the breadth of the use case, right? So on the bottom, if you start from the bottom, because that's where we mainly start, we usually start with simple data capture and collaboration, right? Simple use case. Really, I've taken part in, I don't want to say countless, but really countless meetings where the question was like, oh, can I add this field here? Something like where I can just add some little attribute, or maybe group these accounts into some bigger group, or add some information about this manufacturing item or something, So that's this kind of simple data capture, or setting up just basic plans, targets, very simple way, basic comments, providing feedback, collaboration. And all of this was mainly towards the replacing of spreadsheets, right? So they used to do it in spreadsheets, somehow getting data into Click through spreadsheets, and or following up after Click analysis in spreadsheets. So this is where most of the projects start. And of course, all of you who are here, please feel free to comment and discuss towards maybe the end of the presentation, so we have some more like feedback also from you, because it would be very good to hear, or maybe we can also discuss individually afterwards, right? So it would be good to hear your use cases, but that's what we realized. So usually starts with simple requirements, simple expectations, replacing spreadsheets, something very simple. Then some share of these customers actually move one level higher, where you can see this advanced data and process interaction, right? What this is, we have customers like NHS Morecambe Bay, for example, or various manufacturing companies that we worked with, or financial services companies, where they continued from this simple data capture to rebuilding applications, like legacy applications, into Qlik. So these are all these solutions like HR data capture, mobile data capture, auditing applications, various types of applications for managing portfolios, for example, in financial sector, defining some attributes on the planning and in the manufacturing process. So various, say, loads of use cases which are more than just simple data capture, data input, something more complex, building more complex use cases and workflows. And then we have a broad range of customers, which actually use Infinity for planning, from simple to really complex planning use cases. One of the recent, actually, a couple of these recent customers, we've also had presentations at Clickworld. So there was a Dawn Meats, which is an Irish company, and there was a Model, which is a Swiss company, and there is Tatra Banka, which is a Slovak bank, basically covering or being part of a Austrian German group of banks, and these customers use Infinity for risk management, for example, which was this bank, the Tatra Banka, using it for risk management, and Dawn Meats and other companies use Infinity for planning, and not just simple planning, but really complex planning use cases where they integrate planning on top of various companies, various processes, various items in the planning process, covering financial planning, but also beyond financial planning, manufacturing and various other areas of planning. So, so this is a broad range of use cases that Infinity enables in planning and forecasting. We're currently doing looking at the current customers, and really we see like many of them. We don't have an exact figure, but many of them. For many of them, planning is an important use case when thinking about Infinity. So that's here, and it can get really, it can be simple, but it can get really complex. Here we say that really the value, because we were thinking, what's the value of Infinity in the planning process? Why these customers actually use Infinity in planning? Because there are many planning tools, obviously, in the market, but the real value is in really being able to create a custom application and get as much adjusted and aligned and tailored to the process, the planning process of the company as possible, right? Without any unnecessary pre-programmed buttons and features that actually nobody will use. They are nice to be presented at the presentation. It's nice to see how you can automatically spread values into quarters, but actually you just don't need it, right? So practically the user just needs a simple table to enter data and maybe some custom button which will do something else, right? So with the new release, which we'll also show, this is possible, right? So you can your planning use cases can get to much more complex level, which is important, right? Because it can get complex, and we're making it simple with these customization possibilities. And then on top of this, some amount of customers, and this is what we actually enable with the new release, is about managing workflows and processes involving people, triggering information, triggering alerts, exchanging information with other systems through user interface, for example, or through APIs or various functionalities, right? So these are the most complex enterprise use cases. And if you look at this pyramid, you see a pyramid, right? And that was actually what Angie drafted when she was putting together this presentation. And I absolutely loved it when I saw it, because it nicely drafts the breadth of use cases from really simple use cases, which everybody needs, to more complex use cases up to really enterprise level workflows and applications which can be developed in Qlik. Almost never, we almost never started on the top, although the product is capable of doing this. We almost always started on the bottom, right, with simple data capture, and maybe advanced with some ready-made application for, or building some application for risk management, for example, or planning, and then we grew up. So that's basically overview of this messaging. This will be available to you, of course, so that you can work with it and provide us with feedback, because we are partners. So we need your feedback, really. We do. So in any way, just feel free to communicate with Angie or me or Imogen, Lisa. Just share, on my Maria. Just share your feedback. And
And
please,
I think, yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I think it's also important that this was actually a part of the feedback that we got, is that maybe we were sometimes a little bit too focused on the top in our messaging about, wow, these fantastic things that the Infinity can do. But actually the main interest at the beginning that catches the attention is usually something really simple. Yeah. And we have said, can you give me something more simple? It's really nice that you're showing me something really simple. So this is something we're trying to be aware of. And these other things that we're always talking about, click native, secure, SaaS, or on-prem, enterprise ready. This is a basis, a solid base. But of course, this is something that we're trying to work on, is be able to show differently for all the different levels of awareness for what they would want from our product. Yeah. And then, yeah, may I introduce the next slides?
yes, let's do
Okay,
it.
yeah, just really quick, because we want to get you to some meat of the product. We have some examples that what it means on each level, which we'll pass on to you, but we're not going to go through them in detail now. Just really quickly what we mean when we talk about that.
So just a few high level points here. So simple data capture and collaboration. Really, the key need here that we were addressing was replacing our spreadsheets. You always find the need formulated in the middle of this, and that starts with capturing data, really unlimited use cases, through asking data-driven questions with chatting and commenting and collaboration features. Keeping track of history and changes, very important and competitive advantage against spreadsheets. Right? You can keep track of history and changes automatically. Yeah, and then there's this navigation and description. So using Flow to navigate. Angie will also show some more pictures here in the second part of the presentation. So being able to easily navigate within the application, and also being able to simply get a description for a use case. So this is more towards the user adoption, right? So that people understand actually what's in the dashboard, and they're able to use it. Because analysts and developers, when they prepare something, it's clear to them like what they prepared. But once you give it to the citizen analyst or business user, it may not be that clear. And even if you explain it in a month, they will forget, right? So they need to somehow get back to something and get it easy for them, right? And next slide, please.
Yeah. In this first one, the capture data and unlimited use cases, I have to say that without giving the details, that have come for sure at a different time. We saw last week, we were in a meeting with a customer where we saw two little input fields that were like the missing piece in an amazing process for bringing together a lot of different teams and a very complex workflow that was always being solved in Excel. Just two little input fields, and it's completely transformed, saving tons of time and money for a lot of people. And this is something that we, as I said, we want to kind of focus on going forward to really make that awareness there. Yeah. And then we have the more advanced, obviously, possibilities.
Yes, and here you basically see the bottom line here is that we want to save time and money on legacy applications, which otherwise would have to somehow exist. And this is kind of a no-go, or as a low-code way of doing it. So being able to capture data anywhere, including mobile use cases, including adding photos and pictures taken by a phone and being uploaded automatically via forms into Click for further processing. Understanding processes with data, which is the use case of Flow, where you can visualize your process, understand your process. Last week we had an amazing meeting with one of our customers from Canada. Absolutely amazing meeting where they showed like how how they helped their maintenance team to understand how the maintenance really works in practice. It's not just how they think that it works, but how it really works. And it was like aha moment because nobody expected that it was like they presented. So this is understanding. That's crucial. Building approval workflows, yeah, so including document approvals and basically any approval stages, attaching and analyzing documents. This is the unstructured data, including sensitive data. So we're able to automatically identify sensitive data attributes within using the mole connector for unstructured data. And last but not least, getting instant feedback without reloading Qlik, right? So immediately when users add some information into forms, they can immediately see it in Qlik, of course, configuring server-side extensions, so without having to trigger the reload. Yeah, and there is planning and forecasting. We also looked at this, and maybe this is what I would leave Angie to say something about, because she's been doing planning for 15 years as a CFO. She used to do planning for 15 years as a CFO, so it's her second
I don't do
nature.
it anymore, and I'm really happy. Not because I don't like food, I just am happy to do something. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think Martin already mentioned planning, and I think a lot of you will mention this throughout have really understood the value of Infinity for planning. You probably heard me say this as well. The reason I'm so passionate about Infinity for planning, for those few who haven't heard it, is I did have Qlik for 10 years, and I just like it was transformed when we took Infinity for planning. It's no comparison. Exactly. And now we can do even more with the new release, with this alerting, with using forms to trigger alerts, with the action buttons, the versions and roles. So I think this you've also seen, we've spoken quite a bit about planning, but it's really and we will something that some actually do catch the attention here. They start with the planning. Some of you have started that in a nice way, but it does most of the time start with something simple, as Martin said. It's planning, so it's like the third one on the pyramid, but it's actually something simple. Just kind of let's do the input in Qlik instead of in Excel. Yeah. Yeah, and then there's the last one, which I kind of mentioned that we have some really big enthusiasts in Qlik and the developer team that have somehow discovered all sorts of things that we can do with Infinity, combining that are kind of at the limit of my understanding. I have to be told a few times for me to understand, but especially with QA, really what amazing things can be done. And also one of the use cases that we presented in model I think would actually fall into this category, using as a control center, Infinity.
Yes, and this opens, and we will see it when we show the release videos, and if you haven't seen them, it's really it opens a whole range of new use cases that actually you can build in with Infinity. Especially in terms of integration with other tools. So you may have seen the video that Qlik has produced together with UiPath. Especially it was led by Dalton Ruhr, who showed nicely how you can send information from Infinity Forms via Qlik application automation and UiPath into SAP, for example. And back, of course. So you type information in SAP and you send the data back to Infinity, and through Infinity into Qlik, without having to integrate on the database level, right? Which is super strong, especially in large companies where it's not so easy to get access into database, let alone being able to write something into the database, right? This allows you to communicate on the user level, the front end level, which is important. Yeah. So that's this is one of the features, and others, right? Triggering API actions, triggering alerts, and other basically any custom actions that you can imagine. You can program basically the buttons. So really proper workflow management is now available.
And as we said, yeah, this will. So that's kind of it for this messaging. We're kind of trying to be aware of making sure that we say something on all the different levels. Now I'll go into sales with my colleague Lisa, who's here with me. Again, there's going to be a lot of me speaking today, so my colleagues are going to catch in, jump in as often as possible, so you don't get an Angie monologue. Just again, the whole purpose is to inspire, and so you have this link that I didn't. Something that's come up a lot, and I'm sure that you had this too, is what are we, and what are we trying to be, and what are we not trying to be? I think this is important to really understand. What are we versus a legacy planning tool? We're not trying to be the next JetOx. That's not what we want to be. We have lots of discussions also internally, like how much should we go for this planning? We don't want people to misunderstand, yeah, because it's a different thing, yeah. What basically we're just trying to be. I hope I say this the right way. That as Marvin said, we try to fill the exact need that's there at the moment, and without having to get all sorts of other stuff that would be included. And the advantage again for me is to doing it with Infinity in Click is that you do it where the data is. And for me, this meant when I had a separate planning tool, I had maybe one comparison or one base. And if you do it in Click, you have the whole data that's in Click you can use as a base, yeah. And that's just something different. So of course, there's always going to be a lot of stuff that can be done in these really like big planning tools, and which is fine. In some cases, it makes sense for the other one. That's not what we're trying to be, yeah. That's really important to point out. And another thing, sorry, that said, we are always adding functionalities when we see there's a lot of requests there, yeah. But it's not because we're trying to become, this. And it's the same with a traditional process mapping tool, yeah. I was having some discussion with Imogen the other day whether we can still use the phrase just call something for dummies, like planning for dummies. I know some of you will remember these books that were people who were born in the 70s and 80s will remember the dot for dummies. For me, Infinity is a process mapping for dummies because, in the sense of the books, yeah, because it's basically it can be set up that anyone can define a process. Of course, it doesn't have the right shapes. It doesn't know that, but you have the process defined in the easy way by the owner of the process, and then you can easily add the data and you can analyze the process, which is something that's different because ours is about defining the process for the means to use it in a different way. And then now you see why the wink is there, yeah. What we are trying to be compared to our competition. Obviously, we are very, I don't know, some of you may have noticed that in Google, we had someone was putting the #1 alternative to Infinity. And we were quite complimented that the person is the alternative. This means that we're the #1.
We are indeed, Angie, aren't we? We all can imagine who that was, and yeah. I just also wanted to just tap back in terms of the legacy and planning part, just to interact really, is to all of the guys that I work for and girls work with in our partner network. There'll be lots of customers out there that will be looking for these, from a basic standpoint in terms of where do they start with it. And I think, Angie, you can vouch for that. When the customer is already really invested heavily into Click, it's a perfect example, and going on to our competition, I just wanted to add around, we don't really have any if we look at the suite, do we? So it really is a compliment that they're, an alternative to maybe one part of our suite, but definitely, we're leaders in the Click Native Infinity suite. We're SaaS ready. They're not, there's so many things we can add to this, but I'll let you carry on, Angie.
But I think what you said is actually a very good point that I didn't want to forget to mention. But we really, really like to hear from our partner network, and especially those of you who are here and who will watch afterwards. Is really the things that you see that our competition is doing better, whether it's the main one or other small ones. We really would like to hear that. What you see is kind of a decision maker on the other side, because these are all inputs that we want to collect, and you obviously are closer to that in a lot of cases than we are. So that would something we'd really appreciate. Don't sleep. Always pay attention. Pay attention to what you should be and what to be. But look from the side.
And
yeah.
before we go on from that, I'd like to sort of add to an example of collaboration in terms of, you know, us working with our partners and really listening to the feedback that we get from you guys, and really, you know, making some changes as we go through, because this is a partnership. You know, we're all working together, and there will be feedback. As Andy said, it's really, really very valuable. And one of the points I would like to make is that, you know, I've been working closely with partner, and this has come up a couple of times, and you'll all be delighted to know, you know, in terms of analyzer users for Click, we were always very stringent in our licensing policies around the reload option for analyzer users with Inphinity. So I just wanted to mention that is a great example of collaboration with our partner network to really look at something that came back to us as a major stopper potentially, especially when we're moving forward in SaaS, not having the ability to have analyzers update and reload data. So we want to give you the great news that is actually going to be going away. We'll let you know when that is, but we've been given the go ahead to be able to address that via Click, and that was exactly this example where we've had feedback from you, our partners in the network, that's been really, really helpful. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
but it's a real great example how collaboration as a team and partnership really works. So
exactly,
I want
that's
to let
perfect.
you all know about that.
Yeah, perfect, exactly. Yeah, and here's some use cases, just to maybe, again, for the purpose of inspiring, we've come across. I'm not going to say anything more about planning. We said enough about planning, I think, for the moment, and you'll see that after planning. So, and then there's the document approval, which is also something that comes up. And again, with the new release, which I hope you'll see from what we're showing you from the new release, it will be even more powerful. What can be done with document by document approval, I mean like investments, approval for investments, for projects, for it says document, basically any kind of approval flows can be done with nice things flow as the visual and informs as the input and the action trigger. This is something that I hope. I probably have some engineers here, so I hope that I'm writing something that this is proper. But the reverse process engineering, which is something that as Martin said, one of our customers did in an amazing way. And for me, what that is basically saying not draw the process. You know, one thing, I'm going to draw the process and add the data, but rather let's take the data and see what the process actually is. Yeah, and you can see. Or, you know, where the gaps are in the process, what's really happening. Yeah, so it's, for me, the process was really, really fascinating. And I'm sure at some point we'll be able to show you this example of it. But anyway, the concept is it's not always just that drawing the process and adding the data to it, taking the data and seeing what the process is. Yeah, and this is another one I'm quite passionate about myself. We implemented with one client consolidation intercompany reconciliation. Again, this is I should have put this on the previous page. We're not trying to be a consolidation intercompany expert tool, because that's something different. But it's for simple consolidation and intercompany reconciliation, where it's very, very viable to actually use Inphinity as the inputs and for all these reconciliations. And that's what we've done with one client, because a lot of the times they'll be doing it somehow in Excel anyway, so might as well take those Excels into Click, where they're much more governed, and you can see what's going on. Another thing, one developer said to me the other day, it was kind of nice, like he couldn't imagine using Infinity for anything else but data governance and quality, because that's the one use case he was fully focused on, which is, you know, so there's some really nice things happening with some of our partners about, you know, taking it again. It's about, for me, from my practical business experience, data governance is often a big, huge thing, supposed to be big and complicated, but the way to actually make it happen is starting small, one data field for data field, and going through. And that's one thing that's really nice, can be done with Inphinity, and some of you have seen. And then another nice one, simple, follows in the lower category, just being able to collect data from faraway places where otherwise it's just difficult to get it from. Yeah. So I don't know, Lisa, if you want to add anything, or should I move on? Okay. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Apologies.
Okay.
No, that's fine. Thank you, Angie.
Yeah, here's another one, which I keep saying this, but now it can be visualized in such a nice way with this fantastic new button. Yeah, right. It's my favorite thing ever, because I'm a simple-minded person, so I like simple things. And the use case actually doesn't have to be anything more than a template app. That can be the use case for using Infinity. And that's something that we pushed through actually with one client that had a lot of users. Yeah. Bought a lot of users, because sometimes there's this strategy. First, we're going to buy the users, and then we're going to find a use for them. And this is the perfect example. Yeah, if you take Infinity as a key element in the template app, where you have basically these, and the reason for this is to support click adoption. That's something we always say. Yeah, Infinity supports click adoption. This is actually what we mean. It's one of the things we mean, is that if you have the flow, I'm sure you've all heard us say this, because you have the flow to saying what is in the app, what is the user going to expect from the app, and easily to that's, to be able to jump there. You've seen this, and then this new button, which you'll also see. You can put this info button on each sheet of the app, or they can click on it, and this info button can describe how you use the app. This is an example. You click on it and it says, in order to use this object, you can click, if you click here, then it selects. Yeah. Or another nice one that I've heard is that say, what questions is this supposed to answer? Because going back to what Martin said, it's obvious to the person who's creating it. It's most likely much less obvious to the person who's actually supposed to use it. Yeah. And then of course there's a comment box, where of course there's going to be a lot of questions and discussions. My example, I was a CFO, so I would have loved to be able to have this commenting on my monthly close when we had 2 hours to check it, comment it, and finish it. Would have been much easier if there had been comment boxes there, where instead of doing screenshots and text and in emails, I could just do it directly and click. And yeah, so that's just another thing just to keep in mind, that the use case doesn't have to be anything more than making click much more user friendly. Okay. This is another exciting thing, and here I'll ask my colleagues also jump in. Something that we're in progress of doing. Mentioned it to some of you. Forms standalone. Forms standalone is the forms managed by Click for users who don't have the Click users. And what we're doing, we're just to give an example, the use case that we're currently working on as an internal thing is that for the opportunity of registration and preparing on the partner portal, there's going to be opportunity of registration and the preparation of order forms, so we can have some data quality checks directly there, and for the order forms on the partner portal. And this is form standalone. So I don't know, Martin or Lisa or someone who wants to jump in and mention something. We're telling you this because in case you see this and say, wow, that'd be really cool. I have some client who might need that. Please let us know. Yeah, we can always change our priorities to help your client first.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
Sorry, Martin.
Yeah, no worries. The idea behind this is that we're getting from time to time, we're getting a question, especially customers who have hundreds, maybe thousands of users that need something very concrete. Like we had a customer who was asking about collecting of support tickets, right? So just being able to collect support tickets in a more standardized way than they are doing it currently, from the whole company, from thousands of people, right? So for this, you don't need Click. You need a simple form, but in the end, it makes sense to have this information in Click, because you have the list of tickets loaded, you have information from various systems loaded, so you can better evaluate these tickets. You can better assign the tickets to other people, as we discussed, the control center style, Click as a control center. So you can better manage these tickets. Maybe integrate with tools like ServiceNow or other tools, service desk tools like Jira and so on. So they were thinking about something like this, right? And this is basically something that opens doors to more use cases like this. So concrete use case where the user just doesn't have access to Click, and it wouldn't be reasonable to have access to Click since it would be too expensive for them just for data capture. This will be possible shortly.
Yeah, and again, it's not standalone. We're still Click and only Click. Yeah. Just to be clear, form standalone is just related to, as Martin said. Yeah. Also in planning, again, to go back to planning, it's also a case where actually, in my concrete case, we had a moment where we didn't expand the planning with forms because we didn't have users, Click users, and we waited until we found other use cases for those users and Click before we bought the licenses and expanded also to them. So this is another example where I can imagine this comes up. But we would love to hear from you. I said we're really excited about making these improvements to the partner portal, of course. Yeah, and just some really quick, because we'll be discussing this. Hopefully, we'll have separate meetings. Just to give you just ideas of different type of partners we have, because the question about NFR licenses always comes up. We have referral partners, not many, but we do have some referral partners. Then we have the solution provider and the elite solution provider. We have the different price list discounts, mainly a link to the to the revenue generated, and you can see that what we need in order to that you can have NFR licenses is actually really simple. We just need basically one deal a year, which is the one around the 1,000 euros. We can round it up, 1,000 euros. Because we realize that sometimes there'll be years where there's for some partners not very much, and you need to have the NFR license in order to sell something and demo it. But of course, something needs to be moving. Yeah. So and there's other information. We generally don't have sub resellers unless some special agreement, and we have multiple partners in the regions. Just for everyone is aware. What is a business enablement? We've also learned, and again, if you have some opinion about this not working or working, please let us know. That we, in the first customer presentation, we would help you prepare together, because often there'll be a language issue that you will do it without us, but we want you to be ready. So we, especially in the first ones, it says the first one, but more than one as you need, and then obviously review the different marketing materials and processes. Technical enablement, we found that the best way to enable that is really with concrete customer use cases. So with the pre-sale support and also guiding for the available resources based on what your needs are. We're also making some improvements to the descriptions of the Tech Tuesdays, especially, so you'll be able to find them easier and search on our webpage instead of on Google, YouTube. And of course, if necessary, there's a lot of people who need to be trained. We can also do a paid training. And of course, there are large strategic opportunities, and I'm intentionally being vague about what it means, large and strategic. that will support you more. I guess it's really case by case basis. If you feel you have a large strategic deal, please approach us. If we can support you more with some focused marketing, more focused sales support, and the strategy. So this kind of thing. So these are the kind of support we're trying to give you apart from this inspirational moments. And we'll be discussing on a one-by-one basis, like where you are, where you want to be, and all of this. Yeah. where you see you need some support from us. So I think this is all from the sales side. And as I said, I'm going to do the marketing today too. So because Imogen's here, you can maybe wave or send a heart or something to prove that you're here, but she's not able to speak today. And so I'll be quick. What we have the partner portal now, which we're really happy about. Hopefully you also are happy about it. We have all our materials there. Also the last tech preview was put on the partner portal. And as you saw before, we're going to put the opportunity registration and also the actual order form. Basically, the idea is we put the inputs for the order form on the partner portal, and then it would produce the PDF would be produced, so we would know in advance. We have sometimes this checking back and forth about whether it's right or not, so we can kind of save everybody's time. And then what we're also working on is webinars. We have some interesting ones. By chance, we have lots that are being moved until after. There was the invitation one that we were going to have in June, but unfortunately, because of reasons that we couldn't influence, we need to move it to further back, probably in September. The one about the climate, we're really excited about that one. And also really just to show customers. So again, if you have something you're super proud of and you want to get some more visual visibility, then please let us know. We're also working on improving our customer success. We have some deals. A lot of you have the land and expand deals. This is what we're trying to understand, what we can do, how we can help to actually expand on the land and expand deals. And you're getting the feedback as much as possible about what customers use, what they miss, this kind of thing. And the next one we're really excited about is we've started actual in-person things, which is really nice. Events. There's the Click World Tour. We're trying to get as many as possible. We have there was Washington was last week. The Click World Tour and the public sector, because Inphinity is actually quite interesting for the public sector, especially because of the security. And we have one in Prague, which is it's in the same week as in Cardiff, which Cardiff is the 21st. We're doing together with Differentia, and Prague with eMark. We are trying to get to other events. Imogen knows by heart. You can write them in the chat. Maybe Milano was one of them. Hopefully we get to attend. And I think yeah, Imogen will remember to write it in the chat. If you have a Click World Tour that you are somehow attending or sponsoring and you think it would be interesting to have Inphinity, we would love to try to get in, to those tours. And of course, the communication that we're doing as partner webinars. And we also have coming up from marketing, will be hopefully soon a product video. That's something, another feedback that we've kind of been missing. We don't have a short product video just to introduce the suite. That will come soon. And also these Tech Tuesdays getting started with that actually we now have getting started with Flow and getting started with Mole, where people can learn to easily start using the product. We'll soon have one with Forms, which we're really excited about as well. So now I'm going to switch to Maria, who isn't here, but now we'll show you about the product. I'm going to show you some parts of videos. This thing keeps jumping. Let's see. We had a SaaS webinar at the end of May where we did together with Click. You can see this is Dalton, this is Lyle from pre-sales and Click, and we introduced Inphinity for SaaS. So if you haven't seen that, please have a look. really, because we're trying to show Infinity is fully functional in SaaS. What I'm going to show now, and please someone jump in and say you can't hear if you can't hear, is a part that's related to the new release, to the actions with the new release. So here we go.
So now let's go to the magic called click application automation. So what you see here on this sheet about the products and product details is again Infinity Forms object. But in this case, I can select the specific product name to deep dive into my analytics, or I just noted there is a comment. John Doe, let me know these numbers are very low. Let's focus on these items in Q3. Okay, as we already know, this is the way how I can see the context that was here on the screen when he sent the comment. Okay, this is really bad. We definitely should do something about it. So what we can do is schedule a call to discuss. And it definitely is the highest priority. And let's say that Adam Newman is the person responsible for that. This is the button how I can apply my decision, not to just one row, but to all rows I see based on my selections. And when I hit the save button, it doesn't just save the data. Because when I just say that this action needs to be done, it's okay, but Andy Newman doesn't know about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that definitely could and should be automated. Why to write another email when I already made a decision right here? So let me show you also my, okay, this is something you shouldn't see, but no problem. And hopefully it's the right automation, because today I played with notifications across different platforms, but we'll see. When I hit the save button here, it saves the data. It notifies me right here that new actions have been assigned. It's under my account because I set it up, but that's just a matter of settings. But it contains all the details about these decisions. It contains owners. Naturally, it can be formatted in a really nice way and so on. It's just a matter of time, how much you want to spend on it. But even now, it contains all information about the decisions that were made in the click application. And as a user, if you want to see details in the click application, you can click here and it just opens the application for you. So again, it really can't be easier. And
Yeah, so that was just a short, let me see. In the short part where you can see actions. We've been speaking about actions, and I can imagine how powerful that is. Going back to this presentation on the use cases, basically, like any of these use cases can benefit from actions where it just wasn't possible to trigger that before. Now you can easily trigger this directly with Infinity. Obviously, planning, approvals. You don't have to. You can also trigger some information about the processes, the consolidation, the need for reconciliation, for the need for actions for data quality, and the need to collect data, or the fact that data was input. And so for us, and we've heard from some partners who gave us feedback, they're really excited about our new release, a lot for this reason. So before I go and show you quickly this 5-minute product video where you can see some other additions, I don't know if anyone of my colleagues or anyone wants to jump in at this point before I show the product video. No?
No, let's go to the video. I think it's
Okay. So there it was. Hopefully everyone is excited about this as we are. I just want to really quickly walk through some of the things that we saw, and then I'll show it in demos. Here you can see these buttons where to trigger actions. So when we talk about actions, we're simple. This is what we mean. Here, this one triggered the pop-up to select the invoice or to create the line, and this one triggered mole. So it would read the file content. You also maybe noticed or didn't, but if you didn't, now you know. There's also the tooltip that you can put so that people know actually what will happen when they push the button. Yeah. So maybe you'll notice when I show the demos that there's a tooltip, because a lot of people will just maybe push the button, or people will be afraid to push the button, especially if you're in a context where people know that one of these buttons could actually reload the app and you don't want to reload the app or something. You can describe exactly what the button does. And here we have some examples. Again, we have this nicely in this actually document approval app, where you can see that specific actions, where you have, in this case, a pop-up with a forms object will be triggered. Another nice one that I've seen is that if you have some data, like not here, this is the document information, but you have the information about I don't know, performance, like the Micah was showing in the previous video. You can actually have a button where that can open an object that shows a chart based on these selections for that particular item. So if you have, I don't know, here's Germany, and you have some figures related to Germany, you can push the button so that the pop-up comes with already pre-selected Germany, and you can have whatever chart. And obviously then you can have another button to close it. You can define that when you close it, the selections disappear. So you can imagine a lot of different use cases there. And actually I was laughing, Martin, when you were speaking before about planning. We just skipped because you said this is something that we don't necessarily need, but we disagree because we put it there. Yeah. And I think some of our planners are really excited about this. One of our clients found out and wanted to have it weeks before the release. They were so excited where you have the button here, pre-fill data, where you can pre-fill the data. As I said here, you can create the value. And then just put a % growth, or this can be customized, obviously, fills all the data, can also pre-fill the previous year, however you want to define it. And then you just change individual fields. Yeah, and just one more thing I want to comment on. Sorry. What's new in the Infinity in here? The pattern recognition isn't new. That was new last time. What's new is that we've added different countries. And again, as we say, I'll say it again here. If you see for your country that would be really beneficial for some client, please let us know. We can work with you. Especially if it's one where we don't understand like the language at all, like it's written in different alphabet, then we need your help to try to find the patterns. But this is definitely something that we'd be willing to do for any geography, if you would be willing to help us with that. So now from the product video, before I continue and show you what we've changed on the demos. I don't know if anyone of my colleagues want to jump in if I missed anything from the release that we should point out before I go and show you which demos on. Sorry, I forgot to share my camera. But anyway, Infinity was the center. Yeah, so nothing. Silence is agreement. Continue. So I will continue, and I'm going to show you what changes we've made on I opened it a while ago. Of course, it logged me out, so it might take. What changes we've made? I have to. So you can see in the universe where you can actually see specifically what we've done with new release. So here you have sales budgeting and planning, HR team management, and document approval. These are the main ones. They were there before. Now they're different. So you can see the release. Here you can see a button. There's a button. It says update the application. So you can see this wasn't there. You saw in the video it said image only. So this is a flow object with image only. That's why if some of you might have noticed that I was quite passionate about buttons in the last few weeks on LinkedIn. This is the reason. This is something that's also requested by some clients and have a nice little button to update the application. And something that was already new last time, but you can kind of see it really nicely here, is the colors. They'd be able to color the fields. There's lots of different use cases for when you should color the fields, make it much more, again, this is more about making user friendly, because one thing is looking at a planning sheet and having all of this without the colors. Another thing is to really have the dimensions colored so you can easily understand where you are, maybe get a little less overwhelmed. And there was another button there to show you. So here's an example of another button here. You can do also, wait, where is it? Yeah, this button just takes you back to the intro sheet. Yeah. So these are some nice changes. We have two planning apps. The one's financial planning, and this is the sales budgeting and planning, just to be sure. And HR team management, as you know and love, because we present this the most. but again, this is another use case for the coloring that we've added now, where you can see that you have different information, different uses. This is related to a process related to information. And you may remember, or you may not remember, that we had actually this solved. We have these different options for how to view the data. It was actually in different, in different tabs. So you had a tab for main info, a tab for skills, and a tab for to see the different levels of detail. And now we have it as a button. So if I push this button, I see this, the process. I'm not sure. So taking it out. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. This is new for me too. So you have, this is the basic information, and then you could add the button that adds the main info or takes it out. Sorry about that. Should have prepared better. Add the skills or takes it out in the process. So it's a completely different concept than what was there before. Then you have other buttons. It's all about buttons, so you know why we're talking about buttons. Different examples, or just push the button. Okay, that was there before. Export data, download the dummy CD. Here is a button example that can take you to a separate this is a separate web page. And of course, there's always the pop-up to ask you if you actually want to do it. Yeah, and then you can see on the next one. Yeah, this next one. Another thing I'm really excited about, working with a client who's on SaaS, yeah, that this object, I'm not sure why it's not showing up, but try again. Okay, this object is available in SaaS now. So now we have all the same objects. Now someone from the tech team jump in if I say this wrong. We have the same objects available for forms in SaaS and online, which is obviously really nice, because if you want to write paragraphs of data, then you can now do it, yeah, in SaaS as well. Yeah, so that was one missing piece. Again, and here you can see again buttons for now you have, before you were somehow solving it with tabs, but now you can solve it with buttons. Now I have this information I want to see, and I want to see the skill set. I want to see the rating part. So it's really different. I want to see languages. Hopefully you'll agree. Say which files are here. So it's easier and smoother, yeah, for the user. And then this one, just to let you know that what was in the video is here as well for you to see on the universe. So I had the document approval at the top, and you can see, if you remember, I think that it's completely different now. And here you have it was presented in the video, so I'm not going to show all the details, but you can see that I put here, okay, this invoice number 1, which you can open and see that that's not new. I have the different levels, and the fact is okay, actually, because I think the comment is no more valid, because I input the supplier, so I was playing with this before. It says input doesn't match, can't be checked, yeah. So you can actually put the note, yeah, actually it's fixed, approve, and then you can save. So all of this in one object. And another thing that Maria was showing is the change log. I think it was open for too long, doesn't? Yeah. So you can see all the changes that happened on this particular object. Yeah, so that's kind of it. I've said what I wanted to say, so I'll hand over to Martin.
So you've seen a lot. Hope you're excited just like we are, because we really are. Maybe we can have some discussion, like maybe some feedback, some thoughts. We're hearing on this call as in the group of partners, so you can just discuss anything that you think that will be helpful for you. Maybe some comments, anything that's as you can see, we're listening. We're always doing our best to really incorporate this feedback into our actions. So these are very valuable meetings and very valuable information for us. Do we have any questions? If you'd like, you can. We have some. So okay. So I have the chat here. So you can, if you'd like, you can type questions into the chat, or you can just unmute yourself and say your question.
Or comment about the new release. We'd love to hear what you have to say. This is always the same for the Q&A. Imogen usually would have some ready, but she's out of service today. So it's okay. Maybe we can do this way. And people aren't ready to put a thumbs up if you are as excited about the new release as we are, and we see the value for your customers. Let's try that one.
And is there something like?
Yeah, actually, we are excited. Also, the new features are useful, and we are waiting for maybe the possibility to do the split and splat also functionality. I mean, the possibility to change maybe a value in a column and then recalculate the percentage of every value in the column. This is something that also we discussed with Maria. So we also, Maria just follow us in the first steps introduction in forms, and also we are talking with her. We're with some feature that can be useful for us. But I think that also in this release helps us also to address some needs that we had, and so actually the way is right for us. So
Thank you.
Yeah, I fully agree that custom activities are a really great thing, but recently I face some problem. Yeah, I would like to trigger the custom action on the SQL Server side, some store procs and or custom query to make something happen on the server side. So as I know, there's no such possibility now, yeah, to trigger some custom query or execute store procs.
Well, the question is that with these actions, did you test this action functionality that we released? Did you have access to the?
Yeah, yes. I'm going to then goes through the list of the actions, but such is missing. Yeah, to execute custom SQL statement.
Let's catch up after the call.
Okay, great.
You can also look at it like concrete on your use case. And we can involve also our pre-sales and see if this can be done somehow.
Okay.
Because there's a list of actions that are supported, but basically can be created and programmed. So we can take a look afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Because really a lot of things can be triggered now that weren't possible before. Yeah. What about the personal new thing that I'm investigating? What about the visuals of Infinity? Have any of you come across that it would be better to not be so close to the click visualization style, to have different options, or is that not something that you've seen?
Hi, Jolene. Good afternoon. Dan from
Hi.
Catalyst. I think you get split often. We've got customers who want it to look exactly like Click, and sometimes you've got customers who want to go off on a complete tangent and want to make it look completely different. So having that option to be able to do both is probably ideal, I think.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, if anyone has anything, we would love to thank you everyone for coming. We will now send materials. We'll send the link to all these videos that we have. We'll send again a summary of the applications that changed. As you saw, some of you saw also in the webinar, there was a little 5-minute snippet that I showed from the webinar. That's an application, it's a demo application on SaaS. Because as you know, Infinity, or you probably know, I hope, Infinity Universe is on-prem. So all the demos there, if you download, you want to use it, it's on-prem. Now we have a demo application on SaaS that you can take and use. So if you would like that, please contact any one of us and we can send it to you with some description. How to install it so that you can get the actions. So that's another thing to be interesting. And of course, we'll send you the link to the SaaS webinar, which we didn't send before because we didn't want to spam you with all the information over the period of 2 weeks. Everything that's coming from us. And again, Imogen did write in the chat, Milan, Amsterdam, and Philadelphia we're working on. But if you have a local one, or you think that we might be able to come, please let us know. We are very excited to do any in-person events that we can this year.
Angie, just to add to that, Yolanda at Rick reached out and said they've got one in South Africa on the 16th, the 18th of August.
Okay, perfect. Then we'll go to South Africa.
It's amazing that currently after the pandemic it opens again, so we really can't wait to visit as many places as possible. So really please do let us know, and we're happy to join.
Okay, yeah. Also, it doesn't have to be a Click World Tour, obviously, not just a Click World Tour, I should say, any event. We want to finally meet people and customers after 2 years of being happy to meet ourselves, each other. Infinity team just met last week for the first time ever.
It was amazing. Those people at the end of the video screen are real and everything. It was amazing.
Yeah, we're real. Let us prove it to you. Come. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and looking forward to working with you. Have a nice winter or summer, depending on where you are. Or hopefully sooner
Thank you,
than that.
Reggie. Thanks, Martin.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
Cheers all. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye bye.